I wonder what happens if I log out here in Nieves Cave at the very back, between the lesser demons, or the greater demons, sorry, and the bronze dragons. I wonder what will happen when I log back in after the update, because Nieves Cave is getting reworked. A lot of the monsters are getting relocated into different dungeons, and so in this video I want to cover some of that, give you guys some tips and tricks on how to get to those dungeons quickly. It turns out we just get spawned outside, but let's check out the new and improved cave. Well, I say improved, but it was nerfed. Holy shit, they actually made it look nice. So we are here where my cursor is. We just came in. Blood Veils, there's a gigantic place for Blood Veils now. There's now 4. I believe there was only 3 previously. There's a place for Anko and Aberrant Spectres. There is still a Hellhound spot. 2 Hellhound spots actually, alongside a Fire Giant spot. But yeah, they've removed like 80% of the monsters in this cave and only left Blood Veils, Anko, Aberrant Spectres, Hellhounds and Fire Giants. Looks like cannons are still usable though. Unfortunately, for people who don't use cannons, people can still cannon in here, so it's not really going to stop the amount of cannons and getting crashed with cannons and stuff like that. So as I said, I'm going to show you guys how to get to all of these new dungeons quickly. There is a new dungeon for demons located in Zia at north of House Shazane. Holy shit, this place looks incredible. This place is awesome. Holy crap. So the top floor is lesser demons. Once we get down, enter lift, and it's like a cage. Holy shit, this place is so cool. There is greater demons down here. On the bottom floor, there is black demons. It looks like there's a bunch of safe spots around these stalagmites or stalactites. I can't ever remember which one's which, but there's a good black demon spot. It looks like there's a little safe spot over here. There's a voice of Yama. Let's go speak to this dude. This dungeon is really cool though. Holy shit, I'm actually insanely impressed with this dungeon. I am the voice of Yama. Who's Yama? So this is setting up for a fucking badass encounter with some boss called Yama. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot attack them unless I'm on task, so it looks like there's a ton to go around. There's absolutely plenty of lesser demons, greater demons, and black demons down here if you're on task. Sadly, once again, well, I say sadly, it's not really sad if people have cannons, but cannons are allowed down here, so beware of that. The fastest way to get to the Chasm of Fire would be using fairy magic. You wield your Draymond staff, come to a fairy ring. My closest fairy ring is using a quest kit, but if you don't have that, you can teleport to Edgeville, something like that, and use the code DJR, and that should teleport you outside the Chasm of Fire. So if you have a demon's task, just use fairy magic to get here, and here's the entrance. You can also use your Xeric's talisman to teleport to the lookout or the heart and then run to the northwestern side of Shazane encampment, or you could use the Great Karen teleport if you've unlocked it. Next on the list is the Kraken Cove, where we will find Water Fiends, Cave Kraken and the Cave Kraken boss. The NPC outside is called Leave McCracken. It looks pretty similar to what was inside the Gnome Stronghold, but there's a little pocket in here for Water Fiends, and the boss can be located to the north. You just enter that crevasse there and it takes you into the Cave Kraken boss on the other side of these rocks here. The fastest ways to get here would be using the AKQ Fairy Ring teleport, or a Piscatoris teleport scroll, or a Western Provinces banner teleport. The entrance to the cave is located directly west of the Fairy Ring or southwest of Piscatoris. The Kalphite Pass is the exact same dungeon that was inside Nieves Stronghold. This is what it looks like right here, very similar to what there was before. On how to get there, there's a number of ways. There's probably a lot of ways to get here, one of which is a very simple Alcred dual teleport that then just runs south to the Shanty Pass. It's just right around the corner. Other methods include the Achievement Diary Cape teleport to Shanty's Pass, which is probably the best one. You can move your house to Polniveach and then teleport there, then use the carpet ride to the Shanty Pass. You could also use the Fairy Ring teleport that takes you outside the Kalphite lair and then run all the way east around this mountain here to the Kalphite Hive. So whatever method you take to get here, you just run around the corner, up around this mountain, and right here is the cave to the Kalphite Hive, where a lot of the low level enemy Kalphite are located, so you don't have to venture into the big badass dungeon. The same NPCs here. It is pretty much the exact same, so there isn't really much to explore here. Let's move on. The Brimhaven dungeon has been expanded and there is more metal dragon locations, and they added an entrance into the dungeon that takes you a little bit deeper, so you don't have to run through the entire dungeon to get to the metal dragons. This new entrance is located to the west of Taibawani village, so from the south of the original entrance to the Brimhaven dungeon. The fastest ways to get there would be a Fairy Ring teleport CKR and then running northwest to the side of Taibawani village. You can also teleport to your player-owned house if it's located in Brimhaven, then run south. And you can also use a Taibawani teleport scroll, then run west of the little town. To use the hole that takes you down to the metal dragons, you need to give this NPC here 5,000 trading sticks, which isn't an insane amount of trading sticks. It won't take that long to do. If you look up a guide on the fastest way to get trading sticks, it won't take you any time at all. However, if you don't want to give that chick 5,000 trading sticks in order to access her hole, you can just go to the original entrance where you have to pay some GP in order to get access. The Slayer Tower received an expansion in which there is now a basement which has Necreal, Abyssal Demons, Gargoyles and Bloodvelds in it, but let's go check it out. There are multiple ways to get to the Slayer Tower and access its basement. You can teleport to Canifest using the Carol teleport in the Ancient Spellbook, and you can also add that teleport to your player-owned house portal chamber and teleport to Canifest there. You can use the fairy ring code CKS and then run north to the Slayer Tower. You can use a Slayer ring teleport to the Slayer Tower, and you can use the achievement cape teleport to Le Sabre, is I believe how you pronounce it, the Slayer Master in Canifest, and then run to the tower north of the town. As you walk in to the left, there is a ladder that takes you down to the basement where there is a ton of Bloodvelds and this place is empty. And to top it all off, cannons are not allowed down here, so you've got a ton of Bloodveld down here. You no longer have to go to Nieves Cave and crowd it, and there's going to be people with cannons there, things like that. This is a huge spot for Bloodvelds and there's no cannons allowed. There's also a ton of Gargoyles down here, alongside Abyssal Demons and Necreal over there. There's a ton of the mobs down here with gigantic areas, so this is a pretty good expansion. There's also a little room in there. I won't be able to speak to this dude because I don't have my Ghost Speak amulet, but I guess if you're interested in a little bit of lore or something, you can go speak to that dude with your Ghost Speak amulet on. Sadly, you can't attack these things unless you're on task, so you can't go AFK Gargoyles for money or kill Abyssal Demons for money unless you're on task down here. The Smoke Devil location has been relocated to south of Castle Wars. The fastest way to get there, obviously using a Ring of Dueling to Castle Wars and then running south, and along the wall there should be an entrance to the Smoke Devil dungeon. The Fairy Ring Teleport BKP takes you to the far side of this little island all the way to the west that you can run along as well if you don't have a Ring of Dueling at your disposal. And here it is, the entrance. This NPC here has a little bit of funny dialogue, so I'll leave you guys to talk to him yourselves, but as you go in, it's pretty much the exact same. It's just a big gigantic open area filled with smoke devils. There is a ton, and you can only kill them on task. So you've got all these guys that you can only kill on task, so there's no chance of you getting crashed because, well, there's a ton of them. And there's also the crevasse here that takes you into the thermonuclear boss. Let's go in and take a little gander. Here he is, the thermonuclear smoke devil. I don't really want to aggro him right now, I don't want to die. But yeah, it's pretty much the exact same, it just looks a little bit better in my opinion. There's a ton of smoke devils dotted around, and you've obviously got the boss here. And finally, the expansion to the Taverly dungeon for Black Dragons. The Black Dragons have been moved out of Nieves Cave and added to the Taverly dungeon. The best ways to get there would either be teleporting to your house in Taverly, or simply just teleporting to Falador and then climbing the wall and running to the dungeon. Once you go down the ladders to the Taverly dungeon, there's some steps you gotta climb, and it allows you to run all the way along to the dragons. There's Sleeve here, I'll let you speak to her too, so you can figure out the dialogue for yourself. There's a couple of baby black dragons on the way. I think it's pretty cool that we get to run along the top of the dungeon. I never really expected that to happen, but instead of them like remapping the new area, they're just using the area that was on top, like on the walls. And at the end of the dungeon, there's a bunch of black dragons. I don't really want to enter there because I don't have a dragon fire shield, but yeah, the fastest way to get here would be your Falador teleport, your Taverly home teleport, and then getting in the dungeon and running along, climbing the steps and running along here. So this was the Slayer update. Everything that was inside Nieves Cave has been spread out across diverse dungeons, diverse dungeons. There's a Chasm of Fire, which is probably my favourite. You've got the 3 layers that you can see from the top to bottom, and you have the cages that are the lifts up and down. That was badass, and you've got like these like people worshipping a new god, the god of demons or some crazy shit like that. It looks pretty awesome. You've also got the Kraken Cove, you've got the expansion to the Brimhaven dungeon, you've got the expansion to the Taverly dungeon, you've got the expansion to the Slayer Tower. So yeah, it's just spread everything out so Slayer isn't just one dungeon. One skill in one dungeon. It wasn't really correct, it didn't really feel right, you know, and that's why everyone voted yes, or most people voted yes. And for those of you that voted no, in fear of getting to the new areas would just be out of the way, a pain in the ass, I would recommend starting Fairy Tale Part 2, unlocking fairy rings, and that should give you access to almost every dungeon, every new dungeon that there is. And with that guys, I will conclude this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of this update. What is your new favourite location? It has to be the Chasm of Fire. Come on, that place looks fucking badass. Thanks for watching. See you next time.